That was my chair, I swear. Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another stream. I hope your day is going well. I hope it's going great. Today was a much better day than the last time I streamed. Holy shit, I can't tell you how much better it was, and I don't work tomorrow. So instead of, busting my ass carrying lumber, I get to film a video. I'm very excited. It is going to be Return of the Frog Hat. So those of you who love the Mr. Ribbits character, he's coming back, and I'm very excited. There's going to be some B-roll, some little skits. It's going to be pure comedy. I'm very excited to film that video. Today we're going to have an interesting conversation. If you could tell by the overlay and you could tell by the image in front of you, we're going to be talking about that little spice. We're going to be talking about the price of flesh and blood. So, hello everybody. Hello Unplayable. How are you, my friend? It's been a little while. I have missed you. I've missed your comments. You have everything you need for Draw My already. What do you need to spend money on? Exactly. I don't need to spend money on anything. I'm a brokey. I don't have money to spend on this. By the way, do you guys like my tie? This came in from Amazon yesterday, as well as a prop for a video and a black dress shirt that they sent me the wrong size of. So I'm giving it to a friend. They sent me a medium instead of a small, and I tried it on. It just doesn't work. So, all right. Hello Harley. Hello. Retrofaction and Geeks First, hello. Yes, thank you. I'm very happy with this red tie. It's nice and bright, kind of goes with the shirt. It's got like red buttons in that. I think it's quite nice. I needed a new tie. I just need another dress shirt now. The tie is sharp. Thank you. Okay, so today's live stream, I want to talk about, and as funny as like the images and the and everything, I want to talk about the price of the game and have a discussion on this. Now, obviously, there are, expensive cards. There's legendaries. There's, your expensive staples and that. And I actually, when we get into it, I want to have a discussion with you all, and you can be chatting with me while I'm doing it. Why are there cartoon pictures of Fluke and Box on the screen? Because Fluke is a joke, okay? But honestly, if I wanted to put Fluke on here, there'd be a Mr. Clean logo or something, right? So, a very short Mr. Clean. But I want to have a discussion with you guys, a little bit about, kind of going over the price of some of these cards and maybe talking and seeing if we can all, just have a conversation about like where we think the price of cards should be. Because as you can see here, we got Tunics. The cheapest is a couple hundred American. Then you got the Welcome to Wraith is $250. And, maybe there's definitely an argument that this is a little too high, right? So I want to have a conversation about that. But one thing I wanted to really talk about that really set this off is I've been getting comments. Like the thing about being a YouTuber and talking about budget decks and is the game worth it, yada, yada. I get a lot of comments from people who despise this game because there's expensive cards, like just hate this game. And it's made me realize a huge benefit to the price of Fab. So as much as, prices could be argued to come down, there is a big benefit. And so I want to talk about that. I have a couple comments that I will get to. Both of them on this morning, I woke up and they're like polar opposite. So I really want to talk about these two comments. And then after this whole discussion and everything else, I have a little thing that I've been working on. I'll give you a little preview of that, a little project that I've been starting. Probably going to give some of this away through like Patreon and that, but I also have some ideas about doing commissioned work. I just kind of want to find ways that I can, offer value to the community and earn a bit of money through doing that, because like I like being creative, and earning money through creative work is not easy. So that's something I want to go into. So we'll just slap this up on screen if you want to take a look at that while I quickly refer to the comments. Side note, okay, my investments. You called Amanda Tate like a month before the whole fiasco. I'll watch the vid. History Pack is coming out soon, so it's probably getting reprinted. Tunic, I hope. I mean, maybe. We don't really know. History Pack 2 is probably going to be on Monarch and Tails, so there is that. But going to this little thing quickly, I will get to these more, but as you can see, I've been working on tokens. I've been just kind of making these for myself, I've got a whole bunch of them, Frostbites and, like a couple Spectral Shields and a few others. So this is just kind of, I've been working on doing these, basically, my own tokens, and something that I've also been doing. Well, I guess I wonder if I could open that actually. This is open over here. I've also got my was not prepared for this, but whatever. It's gonna be sloppy. No, I want these and these. I have like folders upon folders. So we'll pull up. Geeks is here, so we'll pull up his. We've got these GigaChad tokens, and kind of what I've basically been thinking is like there is a website called Make Playing Cards, and that's where I'm going to be making all of these. And then I've kind of been thinking about the possibility of doing commissioned work of like, hey, if you want me to make you either into a fun card like this, or if you want the potential of me turning you into something or doing like your favorite character from an anime or whatever and making it into an actual hero card or something and then giving you like the asset, you can order the cards to make playing cards, whatever it may be, because there's no point in like me buying in the cards and then shipping them to you. Like that'd take too long and cost way too much. But something like that, but we'll get into that later. Just kind of wanted to give a little teaser. Before anything, we're obviously going to get to the main topic of this live stream. So, Phoenix Flame has the base attack of 0. Ah, son of a bitch, it does, doesn't it? Okay, I'll have to go in and fix that. I didn't even notice that. I think I just like, I think I was going off of something else. I think I might have had an asset set for something else and like copied it over because I'm trying to make templates. So I will have to fix that. Thank you. I would love to get a set to have, yes. Yeah, like if there's definitely, if people are interested in the Pokemon tokens, you know, I love misprints. You know, that is something that's going to be for later. But anyways, we're gonna talk about the price of actual Flesh and Blood. So I have 2 comments here. They were left last night. I do read every comment on my channel. I take a few days to respond unless like the video just came out. But I'm gonna read 2 of these. I have blocked them out. I mean, you can go find them, but just for, you know, fairness sake, I don't want people to go and dogpile. I don't think any of you would. I don't think any of you are such Timmies you'd go and dogpile on people. But I want to read these comments. And the first one here, well, it says, many of the linchpin items are stupidly priced and rare if you want to compete competitively, which has made me upset with this game. The stupid tunic shouldn't be so hard to get and shouldn't be $300 a pop. So obviously, this person isn't a fan of the price of the game. And I get a lot of comments like this. A lot of people who say this game is bullshit, it's a scam, it's stupid, how dare it be expensive, yada yada, all that kind of stuff. Okay. But then we have another comment from somebody else who doesn't spend money on this game. And this is very interesting. They say, the only reason I own any cards of value is because I was gifted a Mask of Perdition and I got super lucky and pulled a tunic from a History Pack 1 booster at my first armory. I bought the Classic Battles packs just because I think it's neat, and I started with the Draw My Blitz precon. I also bought 3 Burn Them Alls, and their local community has been incredibly generous, gifting me hundreds of bulk cards and giving me the commons and rares I need to build both a Draw My CC and an Arachne CC. And they put a little, asterisk beside the bulk because then they say they call it bulk. I call it an incredibly generous thing to do for new players. Now, I don't think you need me to explain the difference here. I think we can all see. You have 2 people that aren't spending a lot of money on this game. And you have one person who's reeing and screaming and is upset. Well, I mean, not screaming, but is very clearly upset that this game has expensive cards and that you can't play competitively without spending money. And we can, again, we'll talk about, you know, if the prices should come down, what's reasonable and all that. But then you have somebody who also doesn't spend a lot of money and is grateful for the couple expensive cards they have. They point out that they pulled a tunic. They got lucky because that's something that you can do. You know, you can buy sealed product, you can buy a pack, and you can get lucky and pull a legendary, right? Maybe one you need or one that you can trade. And I've said it a million times before. Everybody complains about the price of a legendary until they pull one and they need, you know, either they pull it out of a box or a pack or they need to sell it, right? Like everybody complains about what they don't have, but they never complain about cards being expensive when they have them. And I really want to reiterate and just kind of point out that mention of getting bulk and saying they call it bulk, I call it an incredibly generous thing to do for new players. And what I really want to point out here is the attitude difference of these 2 individuals. You have one person who's basically saying, I'm upset with this game, and I've seen a bunch of comments from people saying, I don't want to play this game, my friends won't play this game. I had one on my Command & Conquer video, some guy just screaming about the fact that the game was expensive and how bullshit it was, and it was awful, and it's no one's going to play it. I hope it, I've seen people say they hope the game dies because it's expensive. And then you have people that they're not spending the money, but they're still playing the game. They're still enjoying it. They still appreciate having cards of value, even though they might not have that many. And one of the things I've started to notice with these comments is a huge value of Flesh and Blood being expensive is that it pushes away the top type of person. Because there are a lot of people out there who genuinely believe the game should be dirt cheap, that things should be $5 at most and everything should be worthless. And interestingly enough, they'll bring up Pokemon or Digimon or any of these other cheap games. And it's always been a bit humorous to me because they want the game to be cheap and they bring up all these other games that are cheap, but they're not playing those cheap games. You know, it's interesting. They say, oh, well, Pokemon's cheap. Why can't Flesh and Blood be cheap? It's like, well, why don't you go and play Pokemon then? Like, why are you over here complaining about this game when you could be playing the cheap game? It's almost like you don't want a game to be cheap. It's almost like you want the game that's valuable, probably because it's valuable, but you're just upset that you don't have it. And again, we can get into the price in that, but it really, there's like a type of person. I will get to the comments. I see you guys commenting, I swear. I need to get my thoughts out. There's a type of person that seems very entitled to me, at least through their comments, and I get a bunch of them, and that want everything handed to them on a silver platter. They don't think cards should have value, and Flesh and Blood, by having value in the cards, by having expensive cards, pushes these kind of people away. And I will say, from my personal experience, from these comments, they are the nastiest people I have interacted with. They leave the nastiest, most like vile, toxic comments. They are like just vitriolic to the extreme. And so it's, if that's the kind of person that's not going to play Flesh and Blood, and we're going to attract people like the bottom person who is like, I know that it's expensive, but I'm still grateful that I get to play. I can play on a budget. I have a few expensive cards. If we can attract the bottom person and push away the top person, I think that's an okay thing. I like, listen, the game's open for anybody. Anybody can come play, and I do not believe for a second anybody should be disassociated with the game for their political beliefs, for their their personal identification, whatever that may be, whether it's your sex or your gender or your sexuality, anything like that, or your personal beliefs. I don't think any of that should determine whether somebody should play the game or not. I think it should be, do you like the game? Do you appreciate what it is? Yes, then welcome, come and play. Don't be a dick. It's really as simple as that. Don't be an asshole. Respect everybody else. Respect the cards. Respect, the game. That's really as simple as that for me. I don't like, all the politics and everything else that other games have. But if Flesh and Blood being what it is attracts some people and pushes away others, I think that's fine, because the game's not going to be made for absolutely everybody. So, kind of went through those comments. Holy crap, there's a lot of things here. Okay. And yes, we will talk about, the price. And I will say now, before anybody gets on my ass, I do think that prices need to come down a bit. I do think there's some balancing to do, and we will get into that. But, okay. 310 decks is $30. LMAO, imagine complaining that you have to spend money to be competitive. That's my thing, is like, if you're competing, like, you can play Flesh and Blood cheap. You don't need to buy all the expensive cards just to play in an armory. I played what I called Tits Out Bolton. I played the Bolton Precon at my armory the other night. We had a few new players, but then everybody else was regular, and I went 3-1. Like, I played the freaking Bolton Precon without the chest because it was Spellfray Cloak, so I just threw it aside when I wasn't facing Arcane. I still did okay, right? The skill level that I have versus a lot of the other players allowed me to actually win with it. So, and maybe not against the best players there, but, you don't need to spend a ton of money to enjoy the game. But if you want to get competitive and compete for prizes, you are going to have to spend a bit more money. And I do think that the price of Flesh and Blood decks is starting to go a little up in competitive season, but it's not so obnoxious yet. But we'll get to, where we think prices should be. Game is really too heavy. Distribution on EV of the game is really weird. Most cards you open in a pack are not worth the price of the pack. That's with every game, though. That's with absolutely every game. Is my internet, is it going to start lagging? Oh, my goodness. One thing I forgot to do was, it's reconnecting. Hopefully it's here. Hopefully we're here. Are we back? I hope we're back. Sorry about that. I just realized, like, my thing started lagging. I realized I completely forgot to switch my Wi-Fi over before. It always automatically opens up on the one and not the other, and it's, my bad on that one. Hopefully there's no more problems. I will say to this comment, like, I do think that, it is very top heavy. I will say, like, top heavy it is, and we can talk about that a little bit. There is benefits, there's downsides, but most packs in most games are worth nothing. You ever open up a Magic pack, 99.9% of Magic cards are worth absolute shit. Actually, most Magic, like, you open up a booster box and you're almost guaranteed to lose a ton of money, so, unless you get really lucky. Okay, yeah, the Andromeda saying, yeah, that's just how it is in any game. Is Magic any different? Playing 3 weeks, have Arachne find Azalea fully built at competitive level, but still cost me a ton. Oh, yeah, that's the thing but the nice thing is now that you have, your legendaries, and this is the benefit, is now that you have those expensive cards, you ever want to build Ranger, you have those legendaries. You ever want to build more Ninja, you have those legendaries. And that is a huge benefit, is once you purchase them, that's it. Like, you have them. Now you can build a bunch of decks, and they're cheap, and I like that about this game. I mean, Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Magic are all top-heavy games and considered the big three. Of course, it's going to cost a ton if they're competitive decks. Absolutely. 3 weeks and 3 decks is a lot. It took me 5 months to get a full CC deck that was competitive level. Yeah, like some people, listen, when I was in college, I couldn't spend a lot of money on my Magic decks, and I got my ass kicked all the time. Like, I think there's actually a lot of value in building your deck slowly if you don't want to spend a lot of money, because every time you get that little bit of an upgrade, man, it feels good. Like, now that I can just purchase all the cards that I need, I don't get that, like, every few weeks getting a new card and being able to test it out and this feels great and cool, like I get to slowly see my deck improve, and there's a lot of benefit to that. There's a lot of enjoyment in that. So let's see. I found it interesting where people's point of contention is Tunic. It's good, but I think how fast the game is now, you probably only see 2 to 4 resources, maybe 1 in Blitz. My next video is actually, or maybe, yeah, it's one of my next videos. I'm working on it right now, editing it, is why everyone plays Spring Tunic. My Command and Conquer video I thought was going to do great. It fucking tanked. It's my worst performing. Like, it did okay, but it's my worst performing video. Like, maybe the why everyone plays aren't going to do well. The why no one plays seems to be more enticing, but still, the Tunic one was already filmed and I'm editing it, so whatever, it's going to go out. But like in Blitz, it's literally a shit card. Like, Tunic is not good in Blitz. You might need that resource before turn 3, and if you're like Fi, you might need it turn 1 or 2. So, like, I wouldn't play Tunic in Blitz personally, unless you're a really slow deck. There's so many better options. Even just something that blocks for 2 or 3 is better than Tunic, because, like, in Blitz, you only have 20 life, and so, you get put on the back foot, you get hit with a lot of damage. Reinar intimidates you 4 on turn 1. Like, what's the Tunic gonna do? Just play the Blossom of Spring if you need the resource. Not complaining. I'm in a position where I can spend 2K. Yeah, no, it doesn't seem like you're complaining. I very much agree with you. Again, the top-heavy thing is, like, there's downsides and there's upsides. I think Flesh and Blood, any game is going to have downsides to its system and upsides to like, it's just kind of pick your poison, right? Nothing's ever going to be perfect. You can't please everybody. Okay, I just found out it was considered a buy-in to even play Armory in my area. If I ran anything less than competitive, I was, like, playing to lose. I mean, listen, so I do understand that when you're at very competitive places, you kind of have to buy in or you're set up to lose. I would like to make the argument, though, that even if you bought in, you're still going to lose. If you're sitting down with a bunch of competitive players, having all the best cards aren't going to help you. This is a game that very much rewards skill. Now, don't get me wrong, building up to that is necessary, but don't think you're going to go in and win an Armory. Like, what I would expect when coming into the game is, like, within the first couple weeks, you might want to be at the point where you're going to lose against the best players, but maybe there's a few players at your level where you end up in the last 2-3 rounds of your Armory, or 1 or 2 rounds maybe, and you can get your wins there, right? I think winning a game or 2 in a night, especially if you're new, is a good goal to aim for, because this game does reward skill. And if you're at a competitive LGS, I'm sorry to tell you, it doesn't matter if you have all the best cards. You're getting your ass handed to you on a silver platter. These players are going to steamroll you like nothing, right? Like, there is a lot of back and forth, but, like, they're going to beat you. If they're better at the game, it very much rewards skill. My brother owns an LGS. Where did that go? Oh, my God, there's so many comments. I need to hurry up. I got all the cards I need immediately. Went 0-6 at the Pro Quest. Yep, that's exactly. Yeah, the cards aren't really needed as much as skill. Game is based on competition, so players are going to want to be on a level field. I mean, that is fair, yeah, but I do think if you're, at playing for prizes that are worth money, especially at like Pro Quests and up, I don't think it's that obnoxious to ask for a buy-in. It's really not that much more price than Magic or Yu-Gi-Oh! A lot of the times. But again, I think cards coming down is a good thing. We'll talk about that. People want it cheap until they own the cards and wonder why they have no value. Exactly. Audio cutting out in a sure. Lag is insane. I hope it's doing good now. Is it doing good now? I hope. Tell me if it is. The stream. I don't want it cheap. I don't want it costly where it is today. There's a sweet spot. Exactly. So we will get to that. I agree that there's a sweet spot. I think a part of it is that the game is so new, hasn't been around for so long, that the certain cards command so much of the price because there's just not as many other options, right? When we get like a bunch of majestic options for equipment, you don't necessarily need the legendaries, because there might be some majestic options that when paired with like this common arm piece and this majestic chest and this legendary helm, well, now that's actually an ideal for this specific build with this specific strategy. But then there's this other build that needs a couple legendaries, and you're going to be able to mix and match a lot better and play more budget and have different versions of decks that are, some are more expensive, some are cheaper, and one might be a little bit better than the other. But like an Ice Lexi deck versus a Lightning Lexi deck, both might be competitively viable. The Ice might be a little better, but you might still be able to play a Lightning Lexi for like $300 less just because of what it needs. And so you might take that concession of a slightly worse deck that's way cheaper, right? So I do think as the time goes on, we're going to hopefully see that. Let's see. I will say that I believe my CNCs every time I feel their value when I play them. CNC is a very good card. It's also amazing that generic cards are most of the cost, so you can switch decks easier. Yeah, once you have them, that's the thing I will say, is once you have them, you can just swap your value. Like, or not swap your value. You can just swap them in and out of decks, and so all of your decks will have them. It's the same with the legendaries. Once you got them, you're good. Buy a Tunic and CNCs and use them in any deck. Yep. Tunic, I see Tunic as being like, I spent 275 Canadian. I bought it at like a peak. I've played it in so many decks. It was like $10 a deck, man. I've played it in so many decks at this point. It's already about the top 3 weeks ago, so it's all down from here. Yeah, that's the thing is, unfortunately, when you buy at the top of a competitive season, it sucks, but you are gonna overpay. So it sucks if you get into the game and you spend money. But I've bought cards at the peak of competitive season too. So I've spent. I mean, I bought freaking Monarch First Edition for like $500 a box, man. So I feel you. And I wasn't like an investor scalper kind of person. I was actually just trying to get into the game. So I feel you there. How is the Fab community doing? Is it really starting to pick up steam? What's your personal take on how it will do in the future? The community, I think, is doing good. I think the game is going to see like high peaks, lulls, high peaks, lulls. You're going to see the growth of it fluctuate. It obviously goes up when we get a set or when something happens with Magic. It goes down. I think when PvE comes out, that's going to be huge for the game. Like I hope. I am so excited for that. Like it's growing. Sometimes right now it's a bit slower, but January, February, especially on YouTube, is usually pretty slow anyways. And we are in between sets. So once I assume Outsiders comes out as that ramps up, we are getting a bunch of new Blitz decks for History Pack and Outsiders, which I think always helps the game grow when you have a bunch of new decks for people to pick up and play, except for the Viserai one, can't even play that in Blitz. So that's unfortunate, but, I think it is growing good, and I think in 5 to 10 years, I think it's got a very, very bright future. Hello, Size Matters. Also, at least Talistar is very nice for playing with cards and playing the game. Yes. So Andromeda has a very good point here. Play on Talistar and figure out what cards you want before you buy them. It's a good way to save money. I want more content that can be absorbed like school. Someone like you can enunciate reading cards set by set, giving a few notes, and the heroes who use the card in couple combos. I mean, that might definitely become the type of content. I think We Make Best is going to be doing kind of like a sleeper card kind of type channel. Maybe they've had the idea pitched to them by somebody in their comments, so maybe they'll do kind of content like that to kind of explain some cards. But I don't think I'm going to be specifically doing that, where I'm going through every single card in that. But see, game is really fun. Me and my friends just started after being diehard Legacy Magic players. Game is definitely growing from when I first tried to play in April. Yeah, it is. Yes, it is. I think the game is growing quite nicely. I didn't win anything even after buying Arachne 600. Oh, yeah. Unfortunately, Arachne at the moment is not too great. Wait till Outsiders. It seems like it's like when Icelander came out in Everfest. They released a hero with the new supplemental set. Now, they did give us Assassin cards, but it's like it's not even close to the power level it needs to be. Once Outsiders comes out, I imagine that's when Assassin's going to be a good class. Because right now, it's kind of ass. Like, I'm just going to be honest with you. Maybe it's my bias as a Dromai player. It's a free win for me against Arachne, but I expect with the next set, it's going to be much better. My other main is Kano, and I didn't win that either. Kano's pretty hard to win with, especially in CC. If you've never really played it, it can be difficult to win with. I think long-term, all players can have fairly easy access to every token, equip weapon, and every common or rare equipment, then focus on M's and L's as needed. Yep. Yeah, I think, I do like the fact, too, that, oh, that's my phone going off. I don't know what that is, and I'm not going to answer it. I do think that, yeah, like all the rares, commons, and the Majestic equipment too, I think is really good. Like when you can buy decent equipment for like $10, $15, $20, maybe even like up to $40. I don't think that's that much to ask for an equipment piece. We do have some really good pieces. Earthlore Bounty, for instance, for Guardian is, like Tectonic Plating is good, but Earthlore also blocks for 3 and you can build around it to get extra. It's a good card. It's like a few bucks. Pulling the big money cards feels so good. Pull 2 in CNCs. Yeah, I pulled all 3 of my CNCs, so I was very happy about that. Competitive season just make peaks happen pretty hard as if the new people. Yeah, if you get in at a peak competitive season, it is rough. This is why I'm excited for PvE. I really want them to have more of an access for the casual crowd where they don't need to worry about all the expensive stuff. They can just sit down with their friends and playing budget decks. Their buddy's got all the legendaries. It doesn't matter that the friend has all the good cards because they're on a team, So I think that's cool. Community calling indie will have 300 people based on pre-registered. Yeah, hopefully playing. Yeah, the community's doing very good. Outsiders with a little cat smiley face. So yeah, cores of the decks are super cheap, like 50. Yes, the core of the deck, yeah, it's in the legendaries, in the terms of reserve lists, single cards instead of paying set of X staple. Yeah, that's the thing. I've made videos on that where you buy 90% of your deck for very cheap, and then it's the last little bit that's upgradable. I actually think that's beneficial for new players. It's just that I think there's genuinely perception that you have to have all the best cards, and the perception is that, like, sometimes it is true. Some heroes do need certain legendaries to function, like Prism and Dromai. at least my Draw My build. Like Draw My needs Flame Scale Furnace, for instance. If you don't have it, you're at a pretty big detriment. You kind of need it to make the deck function. But you don't need any other legendary. Like you can skip all the rest of them and still do pretty well. So and then you have who is it? Oh, I'm drawing a blank here. I was mentioning it, not Prism. There was somebody else, some other heroes. Like you do have heroes that need them. So I'm not going to deny that some do, some don't. It varies. You know, it's like people make the argument, oh, in Magic, you can play a modern burn deck, and it's like, okay, well, you can play a Fi deck in Flesh and Blood. You just can't play every hero. It's like in Modern, you can't play Jund on a budget, but you can play Burn on a budget. Like it's a budget deck. So it's like, okay, play Fi instead and just buy either the Tunic or the Furnace, or don't even buy either. Buy the freaking Blossom of Spring and you'll still have an okay deck. Like it, you know. Maybe there'll be a new Viserai. I doubt in the history pack. I think they're just trying to make Blitz decks of all of them for new players in Kitchen Table. My Azalea going to get buffed, hopefully. Outsiders does look very spicy. The LGS smelling like a sewer. I don't know about yours. Mine doesn't smell like a sewer. Are you still playing Dromai only and messing around with anyone else for Blitz? Dromai and CC. I do have a Dory CC deck, although some people are borrowing cards. I'm playing a little bit of an Earthbriar type build, a Spellbound Creepers. But in Blitz, I'm going to be playing probably between Prism and Kasai. I'm going to go to a Blitz event on Saturday unless something happens. Very excited. I'm driving back out to London, about an hour away. Haven't been there in a while, so I went there for ProQuest, but I haven't gone out for Blitz in like 6 months or so. So I'm very excited. Going to go play some Kasai, I think. I want to play Royal Kasai and see how well I do. I think people should focus more on building their own deck and not worry about net decking. The game is so new, it's the time to do this. Absolutely. I very much agree there. Oh, hello, Manor. Oh, hello. Well, thank you for the $5. Oh, I really appreciate that, my friend. That's very kind of you. That just might be a pretty good game. Who knew? PSC everybody in Indy this weekend. Unfortunately, I will not be there. I will be in Baltimore. I do plan on going there. So if you want to meet me in Baltimore, that is one that I am planning on going to. I've already taken time off work. So, but thank you, my friend. I very much appreciate the $5. It's very kind of you. Okay, I'm gonna finish up a couple of these comments, and then we're gonna get to here. I'll pull this up. Then we're gonna get to TCG player. All right, we're gonna kind of talk about some of these cards. So Dromai, yeah, so I'm playing other heroes. I think people should focus more. Yeah, okay, I read that. Maybe it's results as well. People want to play the decks that have proven results. People are willing to play something that has proven results, especially if it's budget. Yeah, that's fair. I mean, Burn is like 600, and I feel like a lot of comp fab decks aren't even all that. Yeah, honestly, I think people overprice CNC. Like, I think CNC is a great card, but you can get away without having it. I didn't have it for months on end, man. I just recently got my playsets at Worlds, and I only just use them at the ProQuest. And it was because my deck needed them. But there's a lot of decks that don't, and it's usually a sideboard card anyways, so like you can make do without it. Just play Erase Face. It does relatively the similar things, so you should be okay with it. Well, hello, Unplayable. Thank you for becoming a Chad. Yeah, if you guys want like an icon next to your name, you want to become a Chad, that's pretty sweet. You know, I worked hard on those little logos, so you can do that if you'd like. Prism cleaned my clock last night. It was on Dory. Oh, yeah, Prism. You can't stop Prism when you're on Dory. It's great. Hello, thank you for your videos. Because I started this great game with some friends. With your upgrades, I have great... are you planning to do... Yes. So first off, I appreciate that you've been finding the videos valuable. Yes, I do plan on doing them. When the history pack ones come out, I actually might just grind and make videos on all those, except for maybe Viserai, just because he's not legal in Blitz. It's going to be a lot of work, but I think I'm going to do upgrade videos for those. So I apologize to the regular viewers. You might have to deal with a couple weeks of not having regular content. It's going to be Blitz upgrades, which you guys probably aren't going to care about, but I do think they're important for new players. And they're good for the channel too, I'll be honest with you. Gets a lot of new eyes and subscribers and helps the new players, which is important. And same with when Outsiders comes out. Those are the ones I really want to get into because the Outsider decks, I think Outsiders is going to bring in a lot of new players. So giving people budget options to upgrade their decks so they can spend a little bit of money, see if they like the game, and then if they do, they can then decide to spend more, right? Like it's, you know, you gotta give people time. Get in on cheap and give them time to go up. So we can party in Baltimore. Absolutely, Roger. We will absolutely party in Baltimore. Greetings from Germany. Yes, thank you. And greetings from Canada. So, caught up. Again, thank you, Roger, and thank you, Unplayable, for you know, becoming a Chad and for the super chat. I very much appreciate it. I'm going to take a quick drink of water, and then... Plus and Fab is when you build... Yes. Build your deck. Next one is cheaper. Excellent point. I have made that point in videos. I will stick by that. You have the Tunic. No other deck you'll ever have to buy it again for. So, there was a spoiler put up. It's a spoiler. Wait. A spoiler put up. Okay. Red alert. We're getting derailed here. Is it put up here? I don't know if it's put up here. Is it put up on Twitter? The Tall Timmy looks like, ooh, Death Touch. Okay, so we're going to pull this over. Tall Timmy posted this. So we got calling Baltimore. Nice. That is, oh, that's going to be good. That's going to be a nice playmat. The sleeves look sweet. And we've got Death Touch. So can't be played from hand. Okay, only from Arsenal. I think it costs 1. It's kind of grainy. When it hits a hero, create a Frailty, Inertia, or Blood Rot Pox token under their control. Looks like 1 for 6 or 4. What is that? Okay, you know what? Let's see. Let's just whatever. You can see my Twitter. I can't tell. Is it here? It's gonna be frabpoetry.com. We're just digging in. See if we can find. Okay, I'm gonna definitely be buying into this. Can I? You know what? Actually, I might be able to just do this easier. Let's go back over to Photoshop. And let's just do this. The benefit of this. Okay. So it looks like it is a 1 for 6, 2 block, Frailty, Inertia, or Blood Rot Pox token. Oh, I apologize. Okay, that looks kind of cool. And it looks like we've got, these must be the tokens. We just don't know. Yeah, these are clearly the tokens. We just don't know what they do yet. Okay, that's pretty cool. Very excited for that. I'm going to jump in on that very soon. So where is this? Close. Okay, that's awesome. Thank you, Andromeda, for that. I very much appreciate it. This is not the page. Where is, oh my goodness, I am boomering it up. Where is my, there it is. There's the live stream. Okay, now I have the comments back. Now I can read what people are saying. So that's very cool. That touch is good with the reload cards from Arc. Yeah, like putting stuff in your arsenal and then slamming it out. Like 1 for 6 is... One boomer moment. Yes, boomer. I am a boomer. God, I'm 27 years old. I'm a total boomer. Okay, so that was the spoiler. Looks cool. I'm still not going to play Assassin, so I don't really care that much. Command and Conquer. So I kind of want, this is where I want to have, oh my God, $140. Let me guess. Yeah, so these are ones that sold. Now there's not any here right now. These are ones that people are overpricing. So we did see them sell today for closer to 100. So this price is not like realistic here. This is where I want to have a bit of a chat of where do we think the prices of these things should be. There we go. $90. That's more reasonable for the history pack. Because I personally believe I would like to see Command and Conquer be $40 to $50 for a copy, for a non-foil copy. I don't care how expensive the foil copies are or the Fables. I don't care about that. But a non-foil copy, I would love to see 40 to 50 personally. Because I do like when cards, especially staples that so many people need and that they will use in multiple decks, I'm okay with them having value. But being able to buy 2 for the price of what 1 is now seems pretty reasonable to me. Like you spend 150 or so and you have your play set. That seems fair, especially considering like you're spending almost that for 1 right now. Like you're spending a little over half of that for 1. Let's see. Is a Ranger and I didn't notice it was Ranger or Assassin. Okay, that's very fair. CNC 60 for black border, 50 for white, 75, 60 for white on card market. I think in Europe it's a lot. Yeah, TCG Player is overpriced. I think in Europe cards are just cheaper. I think you guys have way better prices. Hope they put 1 in a starter deck like a hero versus hero that's premium versus a Blitz deck, but the art is different. That would be cool. Even if they just keep reprinting CNC, like if it's in History Pack 2, I think that will help. It obviously, go check it. It's all about the cash in right now. Cash in. Okay, well, your patrons telling me to check out cash in, so I have to oblige. $3. Wow. Jesus. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Oh my goodness. What the hell? What the hell? These must be the foil. Yeah. Foils. $3.50. $9. Yeah. So here we go. Like $4, $5. Wow. I've got a few of these. I have a couple rainbow foils too. Man, people are really going in on these cash-in decks. Okay. Well, that's interesting. So we went over Command and Conquer. So the thing is, you don't want to devalue cards. We'll go back over to Command and Conquer. Command and Conquer. If I can type, I can't. This one. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't even care about this one that much. Like, it looks kind of cool, but I literally, this is like the one Fabled where I'm like, it's too expensive. I don't really care. I'm not that interested. I have 3 French Command and Conquers, thanks to Flukenbox, for getting me those, but, and 3 non-foiled, English ones that I pulled. So, I'm done pretty well on it, but the price of this, I think we can all agree, we would all like to see it come down a bit, but we don't, Andromeda says it here, don't want to devalue it completely. Here's the thing. Flesh and Blood has brought in an audience of people who are us, like all of us, most of us who are here right now. It has brought in people that value cards. It is catered to the audience, or the audience that has come in are people who are okay with the price of cards and we like our cards having value. Why would Flesh and Blood, why would LSS suddenly be like, okay, we've brought in this audience that values our game enough to spend a lot of money on it. We're now going to shit in their mouths and cater to the people who want our shit to be cheap and who are screaming and crying that it's not. This is the big thing about like the people who really want stuff to be dirt cheap. Like, it's fine to want prices to come down. It's fine to make your arguments. Like, that's perfectly fine. But I get a lot of comments from people saying this game is bullshit. Nobody's going to play it. I hope it dies. It's awful because the price is too expensive. It's a scam, yada, yada. And it's like, listen, even if they reprint Command and Conquer into the ground, you're going to piss off everybody who has actually been willing to spend money. These are people who are your most devoted fans, who are willing to spend the money on this. We value it enough that we're going to spend an absurd amount of money on a piece of cardboard. And then you're going to turn around and reprint it right into the ground. This is the other thing, is if they're going to reprint it, they can't just tank the price. They got to like tick it down, right? I'm fine if Command and Conquer in a couple of years ends up being a $20, $10, $20 card. If I get a few years out of my card that I spent a lot on and it's at its peak competitive value and now after a couple of years it's not as good, okay, cool, fine. It's not the end of the world. Yu-Gi-Oh does that. I mean, I don't want them to reprint it as heavily as Yu-Gi-Oh, but if they can make the original Command and Conquer still maintain price and all the white bordered ones are cheaper, but like, they can't just make everything cheap because you will piss off everybody that's supporting your game and nobody's going to be happy then. Because the people who want everything to be cheap, they're not supporting the game to begin with for the most part. And so like, they're not going to just start supporting the game. Because again, these are people that will talk about Yu-Gi-Oh, or not Yu-Gi-Oh, but like Pokemon and Digimon saying how cheap they are, but they're not playing those games. They're not your actual fans. They're not the people you want to cater to because they're not willing to support something, even if it's not perfect. They want everything to be catered to them, but they're not actually going to support you. So they're not going to just reprint this shit into the ground. But I would like to see Command and Conquer be a bit cheaper, a bit more affordable so that you can buy your playset for a more reasonable price. I think there is that sweet middle ground. And I feel like it's most of us. I feel like most of us agree with that. So it isn't reprinted, that's why. Royal Dory for the win. Royal Kasai for the win, man. That deck is way better than Royal Dory, at least for Blitz, man. Royal Kasai is what I might rock for Skirmish. Probably printing Outsiders, yes. I spent much money on this game. I want to keep its value. Also, I think everybody agrees. If you want cheap, go play Pokemon. Yeah, like, it's like I want it to be reasonably come down so it's a bit more accessible, but not to the point where it's so dirt cheap that nothing's worth anything. It's the Magic people coming over. They destroy Magic, saying everything needs to be cheap. Look what happened. Yeah, the same people who will say, I want everything to be cheap, are the same people who will open a box and cry and whine and make a bitch about not pulling enough value. They're the same people. They want everything, but like to be cheap, but they don't like it when they pull a box or they open a box and they don't get any value, right? It's I swear it's the same goddamn people, and I don't want the game to cater to them. I don't think it needs to. Let's see. Agree, I want a few years of value. Yeah, at least if I can get a few years of value out of my cards, I'm good. If they eventually come down because they're no longer competitive as the game expands, okay, that's fine. I just don't want I don't want to spend $100 on a card and then a week later it's worth $10. That just feels like shit. That's going to make people who do care quit. You see it in games like Yu-Gi-Oh. Smile, nod, and enjoy the channel engagement for the algorithm. Can't please those type of haters. Yes, exactly. I just find the comments interesting. Never bought Sealed Magic in the 8 years of playing the game, but fine with spending it on this game. The Kool-Aid is real. Yeah, this game pulls you in, man. I've spent way more money. I've gone full tilt into this game. I almost got into Magic and Fab sunk its claws into me. Good. Fab is better than Magic. Don't play Magic. You're wasting your time. But if you like it, okay. I played it for 10 years, but like it's gone downhill. With the owner coming from Yu-Gi-Oh, you think not repeat the mistakes of the games he played most? I think they're not trying to. I think they're trying to fix. I think they're trying to fix it. Like when they printed Command and Conquer and Art of War and some of these early cards, they've now upped the Majestic pull rate. And then you also have the Legendaries, which they've also upped the pull rate of those too. I think they're trying to find that equal balance. Like the game is new and they need to figure out what's a good pull rate and what's not. Like it's going to take time. It's going to also take a lot of years of figuring out data points of like, okay, if we printed it this much, it's going to be worth roughly this on the market. Like it's going to take time to get the data and get the analytics to figure out like, okay, where's our sweet spot? And I think they are trying. I really do think they are trying. It's not going to be perfect. And again, the game is so small. There's only a certain amount of cards. So the best cards are going to stand out more than the worst cards. You just don't have as the difference between the best cards and the worst cards. There's just not as much to fill the gaps. And so the cards that are the best and most playable are going to command all of the price. Because I guarantee you, there will come a day where people aren't even bothering to put Command and Conquer in half of their sideboards because they just have so many options. Some will, but it won't be as expensive because there'll just be more options. Okay, I'd rather the price drop so more players could have access, and I already have a playset of CNC. Like, I do want the price to go down, but I don't want it to drop to nothing. I would prefer to have more rares and packs. There's too many commons to rares and packs. I don't know. I think rares are fine. Maybe 3, but I think rares are fine. I don't think they're too bad. Commons in this game are good anyways. Maxi in Japan is considered a staple. It's around 200 on average. You need 3 copies in your deck. That's insane. I remember getting Maxis in a starter deck. That's 200. That's insane when you need 3 copies. Again, I don't want it to get to that point. I agree. I want to see some of these cards come down a bit. Just make comparable versions that's archetype specific with different stacks. Look at Leave No Witnesses. Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like, give us more cards as the game expands. I expect prices to come down. Look at Skullcap. Yeah, once we get new versions of cards, other legendaries will come down. Cards will come down. The more the game expands, the better the pricing will be, and you'll have really good budget options. Like, if a new player comes in, I'm not telling them to buy a Crown of Providence. Okay, if Crown of Providence is a 10 in power level, Skullcap is at a 9. You're fine with the 9. You will do just fine. Like, you don't need the Crown of Providence. There maybe is a couple heroes that filtering is a slight bit better, but blocking for 3 is still really, really, really good, right? Just buy the Skullcap instead. Value is important. If it's $100, it's fine. If you can get the same 100 out of it later, your money is still there. It's just in a different format. Losing that value will make the game expensive. Yes. Why do people need value in cards when they're done, plan on selling them anyways? Why do you need value in cards when they're done, they plan on selling them anyways? Well, how are you going to sell them if they drop to nothing? Listen, my buddy sold out of Yu-Gi-Oh! After playing that since he was 11 years old. He got like $500. I sold my Magic collection from building it only for about 10 years. I think I started when I was like 15, 16. I sold it for like 11 and a half grand. Like, I'm sorry, but I would rather my game have value and keep value. Because people spend so much money on sealed product, on booster packs, on buying cards for the decks, on singles, like everything. You're going to spend thousands of dollars on this game. It's nice to get something out of it. To spend thousands of dollars and to get $500 because nothing has value, that feels like garbage, man. Skullcat made me freaking cry getting at 250 and it just went down so freaking low. Yeah, that, like, again, and this is the thing, is like, it does suck to see your card go down so low. Listen, if you're new to card games, it's gonna happen. I'm just giving you fair warning. You're gonna take some hits. You're gonna have some cards that you buy and next thing you know, it jumps up in price. You buy it when it's cheap and a year later, it's like double the price. Feels great. You're gonna have cards that you buy and they tank. It sucks and it's gonna happen. I just don't want to see it all the time, and I don't want to see LSS intentionally doing it. Because you need your collection to have value, like if I ever sell it in the future. I'm currently a broke college student and needing money. I sell a few cards. Yeah. CNC gets worse the more instant speed damage mitigation that gets created as well. Exactly. Again, as the game expands, I expect this stuff to change. Crown of Providence. I need it for Levy. Yeah, Levy, Crown for Levy. I was actually listening to Mansant do a video. He was explaining why Crown is so good. Some decks you do want them, yes. 2 Alter Crazy Brews for 150. They're like 70 now. Womp womp. Yeah, especially like I got in when the game was at its peak of collectability, right? When the whole bro investor stuff was going on, when Monarch first was coming out. That's when I found the game. Well, I knew about it, but that's when I really got into it as a player. Spent a lot of money on a lot of cards that are not worth nearly the price they are now. But I'm in it for the long term, so I don't really care. Now, let's go to another card. Oh, great. Art of War. It's not as bad. Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay, yeah, this is... Okay, yeah, so 65 or so, as you can see, like, they've sold out of the ones on. More people list them. Oh, yeah, this kind of annoys me on TCG Player. When you, like, try to find a card, is there any, like, white-bordered ones? Are they sold out? Looks like they're sold out, or maybe the... Yeah, no current listings. Okay, but it's seeming like it's selling for, like, $50 to $60. I'd love to see Art of War be, like, 25, 30. I think the fact that this card... And now it's lagging. I think the fact that this card is... only usable in some decks. I get that it's also, you know, it's a staple. It's very good. I don't know. What do you guys think? What do you guys think about Art of War? I have such heavy bags on, bought several cases of Mon. Yeah, I have a case of Mon first in my closet. I sold Magic cards for it, so I didn't spend any real money, but it was like 2,200. Art of War 50 isn't bad. See, the thing is, again, because it's only playable in a handful of decks, I'd like to see it be like 30, 35, maybe 25. Like, I think that's pretty reasonable if they did reprint it. You know, they don't necessarily need to. This isn't the worst in the world, but I mean, the card did go down to that at some point. Yeah, 30 to 50, good for Art of War and E-Strike. Less power creep than Yu-Gi-Oh as well. Exactly. Less power creep than Yu-Gi-Oh. I very much agree. The Living Legend idea, yes. Living Legend idea is very good. Okay, so I guess we'll just quickly jump to... And I almost just typed in E-Strike, but... See if I'm spelling that properly. Enlightened Strike. Okay, this isn't too bad. What, like... Oh, these are all the... Oh, I know what this is. Somebody went and bought a bunch of rainbow foils. Like, a bunch of rainbow foils. But then we get to the regular versions. You know, which I think is fine, by the way. I know the whole, like, buyout thing. If you're going to do buyouts, if you're going to buy out cards, you want to do, like, rainbow foils, you want to do cold foils, special variants, go for it. I don't really care. As long as you're making sure that you're not touching the cards that players need for their decks, which would be, like, the non-foil versions, go for it. You go ham. You enjoy the game the way you want. So... Most of them are going for like 30 to 40. I think this is okay for E-Strike. If it got reprinted and was a $20 card, that's still a really good card to pull out of a pack. I think that would be a reasonable price. But let's quickly jump to the big one. That's not what That's not what I wanted. I guess I just have to do it this way. Spring Tunic. Ooh, boy. E-Strike reasonable, Art of War fine too. I think it's a tad high around 40, 45, but it's whatever. I think it's just because Fi is really good. I think it's because he's the top deck. I mean, some of these cards are going to go down, and that's the thing. If you see cards go down, like I remember when Art of War reached like 25 bucks. It did drop before Fi came out. If you would have picked it up then, you would have been golden, right? So when cards, if you see these cards, if you see them really, really high, and then you see them drop as the competitive season rolls off, or like a hero hits Living Legend, or somebody gets banned, or something happens and they're not the top hero anymore, like a new set comes out and changes the meta, that's when you want to pick up these cards. But nobody wants them when they're cheap. Everybody wants them when they suddenly jump up in price. That's just human nature. So if you want to be smart, try to get cards when they're cheap. Class staples, 20, 30 should be okay. Lake, yeah, I think Lake being, 20, 30 bucks is not too bad. It's played in a bunch of ice decks, right? Lexi, Oldhim, and Icelanders. There's 3 decks that need the card. That's the thing. The more decks that need a card, the more expensive it is. All top decks use Tunic right now. We need more Class L's and M chess pieces. I agree. Actually, I talk about this in my next video, the Tunic video. Because Tunic, I mean, the cheapest version is, I don't even think it's this. I think the cheapest version is actually the Krunic. Oh, it's going up a bit too. It was cheaper when I literally took a screenshot the other day. Yeah, okay, 200 right here. That's what we got it as. 200 was the last sold. I think I would like to see Tunic. I don't care about the rainbow foil, to be honest, but I'd like to see the reprints, especially the white border. If we get more of them, I would like to see this be, I mean, at some point, I think it's going to be like an $80 card. I think it's going to still have command of price, but I think once we get, as Andromeda said, once we get more legendary and majestic chess pieces, I think the price is going to go down because, again, like I mentioned, Dromai, for instance, she doesn't play Tunic at all. If you're playing Dromai, you don't even want the Tunic. Like if you don't own a Flame Scale Furnace, the Tunic will, it will get you, a playable deck. It will still do something, but you want the Furnace. You don't want the Tunic. And the more chess pieces we get like that, the less Tunic is going to be played, although it still will be played in people's sideboard. It is still a very good card. And if we get maybe, I don't want them to do what they did with Crown of Providence and make Tunic like no longer playable in comparison. But if we can get a piece that's like a little bit weaker than Tunic, but is still very good, then there might be an option that is like $100 and you can say, or like Skullcap, it's like 50, 60. You can say, hey, this legendary might be, might be expensive, but there's this other one that is almost as good, like very close, but because it's not the best, it's not nearly as expensive because pro players, you go to big events, you want the best. So your average Armory player, it's like, hey, this one is literally like on a scale of 1 to 10, Tunic's a 10, this one's a 9. Get the 9, way cheaper, enjoy it. You'll have a deck that's so close in power level. Having a dual class cards means that I feel long term there will be dual class equipment that will be supersede generics for most build decks, as you stated. Generics will have their place. Yeah. Buying from players is a lot easier than TCG player. The buyouts are absolutely insane. The biggest problem for me, unfortunately, a lot of easier for people to move the market. Yeah, Flab's market being small makes it easier for people to move. That is very much the case. I cannot deny that whatsoever. Some Fives wasn't even playing the Tunic, just Blossom. Yeah, if you're, and here's the thing about Tunic. Everybody's like, oh, you need a Tunic to play. It's like, CC? Sure. For some decks, sure. Some decks. Play Blitz. A lot of armories do Blitz. Blitz is very popular. Yes, we were in ProQuest season. Now we're heading into Skirmish. Blitz is going to be what people are playing. If you're playing Tunic and Blitz, you're either playing Old Him, and you shouldn't be, or you're doing it wrong. Tunic is not good in Blitz. I will stand on that hill. Tunic is trash in Blitz. You're going to get maybe one resource on the third turn, which you're probably going to want it like not even on that turn. You might want it on turn 2. Right? If you're playing other classes like Guardian, I'd rather play the Tectonic Plating or the Earthlore Bounty. If I'm playing Warrior, I'd rather play the Courage of Bladehold. Like chess pieces that block for 3 or 2. You know, because in Blitz you have 20 life. And it's not about, oh, you're going to die as quick. It's the thing about Blitz is when you get put to like 13 or 12, you are now in a position where you can no longer just take a full hit and do a swing back tempo turn, right? Because in CC, if you take some chip damage for 3-4 turns, you're still going to be above 20, so you can kind of take a full hit and do that big swing tempo turn. But in Blitz, you take some chip damage for a few turns, and by like turn 4, you're low enough that now you can't take that full hit and you can't swing the tempo around. And so like Tunic it's just not that good. Unless you're playing a really slow fatigue deck like Old Him, which again, don't screw Old Him. Got a video coming on him soon. But no, but seriously, like just don't play Tunic. If you don't want to have to buy it, play Blitz. Blitz is way cheaper too because you only need 2 copies of every card, and you don't even need CNC because you don't get a sideboard. So just play Blitz. Shiana time. Yeah, I should build a Shiana deck. I do have a Shiana. Let's see. Unfortunately, market being easier to move will only be solved in due time, I feel. Yeah, it's just gonna again. There's issues with the game being new. Like, that's just it. No, don't play Blitz. Go play Clash or Commoner. We wouldn't, don't play it. We'll finally delete this. I like Blitz, so it's a good format. I'm new, though, so my opinion holds like 0 weight. No, I like Blitz. It is a bit of a lottery sometimes. There are some, like, over-the-top OTK decks. It's not a perfect format, but I do like playing it. I mean, maybe because I like Kasai a lot, so I can play her there, but I don't know. I don't think Blitz is that bad. I want 10-minute games is where the real plays come. CC is for the long game plays. Yeah, like honestly, that's what I like about Blitz. You know, I really like that you can just sit down, get quick games, get in more games. If you go to an event, especially if it's at night, it lasts maybe a couple hours instead of like 4, you know. So I personally like Blitz. I miss it. I haven't played it much lately, so I'm looking forward to playing Kasai again. Not at all. Just have to build the deck differently and not just take out one copy of your CC deck. Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, you gotta like your deck does have to change, but you can just take out a copy out of your CC deck to just quickly get a Blitz deck. I like that you can do that. But yeah, to build a good Blitz deck, you need to build it for Blitz. Royal Kasai, I'm telling you guys, Prism and Royal Kasai. Tunic and Blitz equals, yeah, just play the Blossom. It's way better because you get the resource on demand. If you're not playing full art Tunic, exactly. I am a total scrub playing my Welcome to Wraith Tunic, and I do have a Krunic given to me by the lovely Saint Hung from Fabled Hunters. He knew I didn't have one at the time, even though I'd bought one from a patron like a few days before, but he put out a video saying he was going to send this to me, and you know, if he, you know, he had mentioned me kind of like, oh, there's a creator that I like and doesn't have one. And if he comments here and you ended up being me. So lovely man sent me one. But the thing is, that's nice about it is I bring this Krunic with me. And if there's a new player or somebody else that I like at the LGS who needs a Tunic for CC and they don't have one, I just hand it to them and say, borrow this for the night. Here you go. There's a Tunic to you, so you don't have to spend the money. I do like that about legendaries. If somebody seems trustworthy and you like them and they're not sketchy or seedy or anything like that or unlikable, you can lend your cards out to them, the legendaries you're not using. So an enfranchised player like me who has a bunch of them because I built a bunch of decks or I've pulled a bunch of them, I can lend them to people that I consider friends. And so they don't have to buy them every time. They can play with them without having to purchase them. So there is that benefit too. On that Royal Kasai, absolutely, man. Kasai is so good. You pitch a yellow, you swing with Saber, use like a Blade Runner, swing with Saber, you refresh your Valiant Dynamo, you block for 7 every turn by blocking with 2 cards, and and like you only need the yellows to pitch. Kasai is so fun. I don't even give a shit about Blood on Her Hands. Like, it's a good go-off card, but if you're playing around Blood on Her Hands, you're doing it wrong. You're doing it wrong. Just play around the fact that you get to block for 7 every turn, and then still swing like, I don't know, 2 and then 5. Like, you get to still swing 7. Like, it's just so good. It's too expensive considering how few people play the game. IMO. I don't think so. I don't think so personally. I think some things need to come down. But I think it's an advent of how good the game is. Here, let's go to Crown of Providence. This card is pretty pricey, very pricey, honestly. What is the cold foil worth? It's saying the cold foil is not worth that much anymore. I thought it jumped up, but okay, yeah, they sold for that, but rainbow foils, couple $100, very expensive. Now I'm not necessarily considering that this has to come down just because this exists. I remember when this was like $300. God damn, I remember this is expensive. I'm not as bothered with Providence being expensive when you have an option that is almost as good, not as good, but it's like like everybody treats this like it's garbage now. It is not garbage. It's still a great card. One card being slightly better does not make this card suddenly bad. It just means nobody wants it. So like if you're a newer player, play the Skull Cap. You're really not losing out that much power. All right, let's see. I'm down my little first card I bought before anything else was Tunic. It's still not bad though. Now you have a Tunic for all your deck. Many players are playing Fab, true, but I'm European and can't justify buying that here since I have no one to play with. We should get bigger. That's the thing. The thing about Fab is it's growing all over the world, but it seems to be in pockets, and it's just going to take time. It's just going to take time for the game to expand and grow. Like it sucks. I do want it to grow. I mean, I'm a flesh and blood YouTuber. Like, of course, I want the game to grow because that means my audience grows and I can have more people, more Chads like yourselves listening to me. And I would love that. I love all of you Chads. You guys are all fantastic. I get more people watching my streams. I get more views. Like, that would benefit me a lot. But it's got to take time. Like, you gotta be patient. These things take time. Fab blew up really quickly. It's way bigger than it probably would have been if it didn't have that big blow up. And I think when PvE comes in, that's going to be very good for the game. But it's a snowball effect, right? It's going to be kind of slow. And the next thing you know, it's over just a few years, it's going to start spiking and spiking. I think it's coming. I think as the game sets up its foundation and its base, gets a lot of sets under its belt, it really gets going, there's just going to be so much for people to come into, and it's gonna take off in a few years. Probably in a couple years, to be honest. It's just going to keep going. This is how usually this stuff works, and I don't think they're going to make such a misstep that the game's going to suddenly crash. Noah Zelandia, Polska. Oh, sorry for the Polish country name. So we got U.S., Canada. Yeah, I can believe these numbers. I mean, there's probably a bit more than these players because you got to also understand, like, some people are just buying a deck and going and sitting at home and playing. And that's why I think PvE is going to be really good because there's a lot of people who don't really care about going to a locals in their armory. They just want to play with their friends at home. I know a lot of people who have bought Blitz decks. They've never entered events. Their friends kind of got them into the game. They play it here and there. They're not huge into it, but the seed is planted. And if they ever decide to come back, now we might see that sudden increase in people playing. So, yeah. Let's see. Skullcap. Okay, isn't Skullcap better into Wizards anyways? Probably, yeah. Skullcap is better than Dash and Fi. Yeah, like that extra block sometimes does get you. Again, that's what I mean. Is like people act like Skullcap's no longer good because it's not as expensive, and this is what I mean about. When people say they want the game to be cheap, it's like the whole reason you want to play it is because it's expensive. People want valuable things. We don't like when we don't have it, but we like it when we do, and it makes the game more appealing when we perceive that it has value. If everything was valueless, like all the base cards were valueless, even the collector stuff wouldn't be worth anything. Because if every card is worth $5, nobody is spending $500 on a Fabled. And then the whole economy of the game will collapse. I saw this in Force of Will here in the West. Force of Will, I mean, they made some blunders, but the big blunder they did is they got rid of all the value. All their cards were cheap. Like, the most expensive card in a set was like $20, and it was like the best thing that you could pull. And even then, it started to go down. And what ended up happening is stores stopped opening product because they couldn't make their money back on opening boxes. So why would they do it? They're in there to, try and make a profit, right? They're trying to make a living. And then you couldn't get singles. And then if you wanted to get your decks, you'd have to buy sealed product. And people are like, oh, you could trade. It's like, who the hell are you going to trade $2 cards with? Right? And so it's like this chain effect where if the game doesn't have value, it's just going to ruin everything. It will, in the long run, ruin everything. Stores won't open singles. You won't be able to get them. The game is going to even die quicker. Like, it's, again, I think there's a reasonable point where value should be. come down a little bit, but you can't, if you drop it, it's going to ruin it. A game like Magic, I mean, think about it. Sure, a lot of the new sets don't have value, and people hate that, but you have a lot of value still in a lot of older stuff, and then they use their reprint sets by saying, here's all these $80 cards, we're going to reprint them in this set, and that's how they sell it. It's like, this exists for a reason. I'm sorry, but the games that survive have some value in the game. Pokemon gets by a little bit by being such a big IP that they can sell packs just because people love Pokemon. But competitive card games that don't have that behind them, even Yu-Gi-Oh, Magic, and Flesh and Blood, there's got to be value in the cards for the game to survive. AB3 turns on. Yeah. One-handed weapon. Let's see. Skullcap useful and draw my CC. Yes. You don't need Crown of Providence. I like the Crown because it allows me to tuck things, but Skullcap is just fine. Like, Skullcap will do the job perfectly fine. Again, it is not much weaker than Crown. Crown is more filtering. It gives you that extra little effect. It is, especially because of CNC, it's really nice, but Skullcap is fine. You will do just fine with Skullcap. Play this. Don't buy a Crown if you have a Skullcap. If you're new, just play the Skullcap. Oh god, I hope the thing isn't lagging. Okay. Clash is a better format to introduce players than Blitz. The problem with Clash, Commoner is boring. The problem with Clash is that it's fan made. Blitz is the official one. It's like PvE. Ultimate Pit Fight could be pretty decent. By the way, I hope the stream isn't lagging too bad. Looked like it was for a second there. I agree, Clash looks pretty good. It looks decent, but it's not like a fully supported format, so we'll have to see. Maybe it does. Again, PvE I think is where it is. Like Ultimate Pit Fight, if they come out with Ultimate Pit Fight precons, I think that'd be really good. I think that would get way more attention because people would just buy them to test them out and then be like, oh, this format's kind of fun, especially if they make it janky. Ultimate Pit Fight has the benefit. I actually want to build a Briar deck because I want to run Plunder Runs, even though they are legal in Blitz. I want to run Plunder Runs, Ball Lightning, and Duskblade. I want to make like just I'd call it all gas, no ass. Because, like, nothing's going to block. It's just going to be all power, which will get you killed in Ultimate Pit Fight, but who cares? Because you got people teaming up on you. Let's see. Versus Wizard, you prepare no runes because you want to prevent damage first, mostly. That is true. Singles need to have some value or else LGSs won't find it worth to carry Fab. That's exactly true. Needs a better entry point. Commoner, Blitz, Constructed. Players can't really justify spending 8,000 to 1,000 they're 100% confident in. That's why they don't need to. Listen, man. This is why I offer budget decks. This is why my channel's got budget decks, got budget upgrades. People don't need to have the most powerful thing when they're learning if they actually like the game, and they can slowly but surely upgrade decks. And I know this because I've got a bunch of people at my LGS that don't have all the best cards, that their decks aren't fully upgraded, and they still do all right. As long as they can get a couple wins in an armory, they don't have to top the whole thing. But when they might lose against me, but then they go up against another newer player, somebody who doesn't have fully tuned decks, and either one of them can win in that match. And people just need to get some wins. Again, I am saying this whole time, I do think the game needs to be a bit more accessible, but I do think that the perception that players need to top armories, I think that's just the most competitive people. Most people I've met are fine winning a couple games and losing a couple games. They just don't want to lose every single one, every single armory. We need more casual formats. I think we just need more support for Ultimate Pit Fight, and PvE is going to be the big one, so I think we just need to be patient. I want them to make it good. Pokemon survives from the collector base, not the game. Yeah, like it really is. Yeah, the game it's okay, but yeah, it very much is just the big IP of Pokemon, and kids, children too. Like children aren't buying Fab, but man, kids love Pokemon. Bringing in PvE, it's the game, it's not TCG. Great name. Even in LL format, Duskblade should be banned. Yeah, Duskblade needs to be banned in LL. Don't leave it. It is after playing an Ultimate Pit Fight, man. When you're paying 1 to swing for 10, oh boy. It's stupid. Duskblade is stupid. It doesn't require any effort to get it up. Duskblade is definitely busted. Don't have that legal in Living Legends format. It's completely busted. Okay, I love getting into my pity pack for showing up and getting a buy. Yeah, there you go. Like, listen. Yeah, I really am excited for the expansion of this game and for the expansion of more majestic and common and rare equipment options and staples that people can then use to play budget decks that are of a higher power level than they are now. Because, yeah, I would like to see a bunch of Majestics that people can buy a $30 chess piece or $20, hell, Earthlord Bounty is like $5, and they get something that's really good, that's really solid, blocks for a bit, has a decent ability, maybe changes what your deck does. You have to play a slightly different strategy, but it's still good, and you get to compete on a somewhat more even level without having to spend as much money. I do want to see the game get there, but it's going to take time. That's the thing is when the game is small enough, whatever the best cards are going to command all of the price, and it's not going to be as spread out as it will be as the game expands. Favorite part of Blitz is being able to bring common or rare equipment, be able to side out my... Yes, exactly. I do the same thing, yeah. Or going naked, naked Kasai. But yeah, being able to bring commons and rares because you have 11 equipment slots and just going, okay, you're a new player, don't have anything good. I'm going to take out the Dynamo. I'm going to take out the Courage. I'm going to take out, like Braveforge Bracers. I'm going to play cheap stuff. UPF and PvE are better for gaining more casual players, but Blitz feels too expensive for a starter format, so I think Clash should be an official entry point for competitive play. I mean, maybe they do pick up Clash so they can get things cheap, but I don't know, man. I don't think Blitz is all that expensive. I mean, it is a competitive game, right? And there are the casual formats. Again, I think the casual part of Fab is just it's going to take time for PvE to come out. I think that's the real casual experience. Least in Defy, the Majestic Mask of Pouncing is favored. Yeah, like there's a reason it's banned in Blitz. Mask. There's actually more banned cards that are Majestic. I mean, we got Bloodsheath Skeleta. We have Mask of the Pouncing Lynx, and I think that's it for the Majestics. But then we also have commons like Stubby Hammers. Heart and Cross Drafts is also banned. Like, there's really, really good cards that aren't legendary. I mean, I know Crown of Seeds should be banned, but, they don't want to because it is a legendary. But they've made some busted stuff that was way cheaper than the legendaries are. It's really insane as someone who quit Modern and thought Standard Magic was getting out of control back in the day. Pokemon is cheap, competitive deck, a good collector's value. Hope Flesh and Blood can find the balance. I mean, that's the thing. Listen, if your thing is that you want a cheap game, go play Pokemon. Go play Digimon. They're cheap. But people, I've noticed that so much. People will bring up these games. And I'm not saying you. I'm not saying this is what you're bringing on. But just like I see people who are like, you seem like you're just, making that good. You want Fab to find the balance. I agree that there is a balance. But I've seen people bring these up and they get so mad at Flesh and Blood. Like, oh, this is such bullshit. And it's like, guys, like it's like if you care that much about the price, then go play those other games, Like if that's your sticking point, it's interesting that you're bitching about Fab, but you don't want to play these other games that are cheap. It's almost like you like this game because it has value. And you aren't playing these other games because they don't have value. But again, to 10 Ton Monto or whatever, I'm not saying this about you. Your comment's reasonable. I'm just speaking about comments I've gotten from other people. Like Commoner, I haven't played much Commoner. I did a little bit back in the day, made some videos, but then just felt disingenuous because I wasn't really playing it. So I was like, I don't want to keep making decks on a format I'm not even playing. Well, when I see somebody new on the Armory play without legendary equipment, I let them borrow mine. I'm the same thing unless they're kind of a seedy person. Duskblade banned, Crown of Seeds and banned in Blitz. Yep. I think it should CC. I've got a video coming up on Oldhim. I think you guys are gonna like it. I mentioned Crown of Seeds a couple times. Love the title. Thank you. The Re. Yes, we're talking about money, so Re is appropriate. Proxies should be Armory legal. I kind of agree with this, if I'm being very honest with you. And by Proxies should be Armory legal, what I think is that if a store wants to either have extra legendaries to lend out, or they make like really good proxies, and the rule is like somebody's brand new for their first few armories while they're there just for the event, they get to, if everybody else is good with it, they get to enter and they get to borrow a tunic for like a certain amount of games. Maybe they get like a little punch card or something to keep track, or they write it down. They say, so you can test out at the best level as you're getting into the game. We will lend you legendaries, but only like, and I think a lot of other players would be okay with this because again, if somebody's new, they're not going to win. You're going to kick their ass anyways. They don't, you give them a tunic, it doesn't matter. I wouldn't be opposed to this, but this is definitely something I think stores and the player base should decide for themselves. It's not for me to say what a store should or shouldn't do. No proxies. But also, I should say, no proxies. Like, if they're going to get proxies, maybe they can't win the Cold Foil promo. That is one thing I will say. I really do think that letting them borrow the actual cards is far better, but I also don't like to dictate to people. I don't know. I think if a store does decide that that's what they want to do, because the way I look at it is I don't see like a store saying, but don't just like cut it out on a piece of paper. I mean, if they like get like nicely made, not like real proxies, but very clearly defined that it's not a real card, and they want to, and everybody's in agreement, it doesn't bother me that much. No actual like genuine events. But it doesn't really seem much different to me than a store saying we have extra tunics, we're going to lend them out. We have extra Braveforge Bracers, we're going to lend them out. but I think there would have to be a time limit on it. It's probably better that they don't. It's probably better that they don't, but it is an idea I've kind of thought about where it's like I personally wouldn't mind if a new player gets to borrow like a well-made fake tunic if you use like make playing cards to make it. But again, can't look real, can't look like a real card. Absolutely not on that front. But it probably is just better to you know, I don't know. It's proxies will kill the game. I don't think so. No proxy store should sell more singles. Okay, yeah. Again, it probably is better that there aren't proxies. It's an idea I've had, and it is one of those things where it's like I'm not fully opposed to it. I'm not also fully for it. If somebody wanted to play if we had a nice made proxy, you know, I don't know, to let them borrow for like a small amount of time. There definitely would have to be a time limit because you would have players abusing that like crazy, being like every time they show up. I've met a few people who want everything to be cheap. So you know what? Now that I'm really working through this, probably better just to not. As nice of an idea as it is, it's probably better to not. And I really don't like the idea of using proxies to compete for very high competitive prizes. Even armory promos, you know, like they are worth something. And yeah, I think I'm just gonna actually say no. As nice of an idea it is. I think if you're playing casually, that's perfectly fine. You want to play a couple games before an armory. Having a few proxies on hand or like ones to people to borrow, that's fine. But yeah, definitely, yeah, it's. I kind of like I see why it's appealing, and there is niceness to it, but it's probably just there's probably way too many problems with it. And you know, I do like the idea of like I've had to pay for my cards, like you should have to also buy in because I met people that want cheap and easy, and if they had access to a proxy every time, they just want to use them every single time. But lending out real conversions is probably better. Incentivize people to do proxies. LSS and the LGS will lose money. Up the legendary rate. Yes, they have up the legendary rate, which is really, really good. Let's see. I think good game for better people. I think lending. Yeah, proxies at home go nuts. Yeah, that's what I mean. The store would be better off lending the real cards with the encouragement to show off the game and get packs. I think that's probably definitely better. Talishar as well, yeah. That is very fair. Lending the real card, like I can see the use of proxies, and there is a part of me that's like, there is like a good part to it, but even just like obviously even just working through it for a couple minutes, I think the downsides far outweigh the upsides, and I think you guys are right. I'm sorry, Andromeda. I think. Yeah, I get the problem, sadly. Like, that's the thing. There's some things where it's like, I'll entertain the idea, but once you start to work through it a little bit, then you kind of realize, like, no, there's, like, all these reasons that it just wouldn't be good. And I have said before, I don't want people using proxies to compete for their prizes. So, you know, maybe if it's, like, a free Blitz armory and you, like, or, like, maybe not even an armory, but, like, an event, like a learn-to-play event, or you just do, like, a free event where people enter. Maybe the store doesn't have, like, what is it? They don't have the LSS official prizes, so like the cold foil or promos, but they're just giving out like packs. You pay an entry and they give away packs. Then maybe, because then it's like, but if you're fighting for the cold foil, no, like you got to have your own cards or the real things. Let's see, story would be better off lending a real card. Saying for new players, I have a fall collection. Personally, what do you think of UPF only cards? I think if they make a UPF product, I think that's perfectly fine. I would love to see that actually. And you know, I think we're gonna have that for PvE actually. PvE only cards. Also, I'm undoing this because it is warm in here. Okay. When players don't buy real cards, they aren't that focused on the game because they don't have thoughts. I spend X money. That is very true. Yeah. If LGS has actually made money off of Fab and stuff and sold singles, yeah, like I would like for LGS to sell more singles, mine especially. Are you going to the indie calling? Thank you for the compliment on the content. I'm not going to indie, but I will be. Apologize. I will be at the Pro Tour Baltimore. I think Fab still needs to find a way to make Ultimate Pit Fight become an alternative to Commander. I don't think it will be. To be honest, Ultimate Pit Fight is kind of fun, but it has its downsides with this game. The system doesn't work. I think they've got it, but they're making PvE their premier format. I think that's what they're doing. And I like that. I'm excited. I'm so excited for PvE. My channel, honest to God, I will still make stuff for new players. I will still do some commentary, but it will probably very heavily become a PvE channel if I get into it. Don't know. I could come out. I could think it's going to be amazing. I'm going to play a ton, play it for a bit. Don't like it as much as I thought. That could very well be a thing. But if I do enjoy it as much as I think I will, expect the channel to have a lot of PvE content. I'm really not a competitive player. I don't mind competing. I'm decent at the game, and I could be competitive. I just don't have the time to be super competitive. So I would rather get like really into the PvE where I can like I like cooperating with people. I really like cooperative play. I love the idea of hate Commander, not going to lie. Commander was my format, so that was all I played in Magic. I love the idea of PV equipment cards, like to level up their character. Yes, I think they're going to do something really good. Did you test PV on Talishar in the campaign on Felt Table? I have not tested those. I have played the PVE engine, the Overlord engine that was made by Hugo Raptor. Or Hugo Radar. I think it was Hugo Radar. He put it up on Reddit ages ago. I helped him play test it. We even made like a Wickerwort little frog hero. He helped me make our villain enemy boss. It was like a boss format. It was pretty fun. I haven't been able to play it much lately. I've just been so busy with the channel, and I've been trying to keep up with like actual fab formats and get better and play a little bit more competitively to improve at the game, to make my content more valuable. But I have not tried either of those. To be honest with you, I love that Fault Table and Talishar exist. I think they're great tools. I fucking hate playing on them. I've never really played on Felt Table, but Talishar, man, I love it. I am a patron supporter of them. I think it's necessary. I think it's useful. I fucking hate Talishar. I hate playing on Tal. I play like such an idiot. I don't know what it is, but I can make such better plays, much better decision making. I can read cards better. I can, pay attention to what's on the field, what's in graveyards, far better in paper. When I'm on Talishar, I'm an idiot. I am so dumb on Talishar. It's not even funny. We're going to bring this back because I'm going to be getting to this soon. So we're going to, let's bring it over here. Let's put it back to this. Let's put it back to this for a bit. Baltimore is going to be super fun. Yeah, I'm looking forward to meeting everybody at Baltimore. Talishar hurts to use sometime. Prefer TTS, but Talishar is more convenient. Yeah, Talishar is more convenient. Makes similar. Yes, I think that's the thing. Yeah, Talishar is a weird interface. I think it just, the way it's set up doesn't work exactly well for Fab. Again, it's still in development. I appreciate that they have it. I love that it's a tool. I don't want to just shit on it. But it is frustrating to use. I think it's best to use when you're on a call with somebody else, like through Discord or whatever, and you can say, oh, I made a mistake, got to take that back. Playing against randoms, I really don't like it that much. I prefer playing in the flesh and blood. That's what this game is made to do. That's what it's for. So, but again, I don't want to be that person who's just bitching about a free service. Like Talishar is a fantastic thing. I'm very glad it exists. It does have its purpose. It's good for testing. It's good to figure out your decks. You kind of make that concession. It's free to use, so you kind of make the fact that it's not as good as real flesh and blood, but it's still there to use. I did see the new card, yes. And thank you about the content. I appreciate that. Deathmark, yes, we did look at that a little bit ago. So if you want to see that, you'll have to go back to it. So are we good? Are we all good on the, so I think we can kind of agree on the topic of card prices, that it's maybe good for cards to come down in price. The price of Tunic being as high as it is, Command and Conquer. It seems like everybody's kind of saying that, where it seems like that's the kind of the consensus, where it's like, we all have bought into this game. A lot of us have these cards. We've spent money. We want to have value. So if we can see the card price come down a little bit, not so much as tanking it, but make it more accessible, that would be nice, right? I think it's fair to say cards being a little bit more accessible is perfectly fine. Command and Conquer being a bit cheaper. These cards, the game being a little bit cheaper. Legendaries. I mean, I do like that they're upping the legendary print run. I think that they are fixing them. I do like to see legendaries around $100. I don't think they should be dirt cheap. I do think if you're going to buy a card that's usable for many decks and a card having value, you spread it out over the cost of all those decks, because we all know you're not, don't lie to me. Don't lie to yourself. Don't lie to the audience. We're all Chads here. We're not dumb. We're not a bunch of dumb little children. You're building a bunch of decks. If you're getting into this game, even if you're somebody on a budget, you're building 8 decks. Don't if you're playing for a year, 2 years, 3 years, even 6 months, you're going to build a few decks, right? You're going to build more than just one. Don't look me in the eye. Look me in my bright blue eyes. You're building more than one deck, okay? Don't lie to yourself. If you're buying these staples, you're going to use them in a lot of decks, and so it's fair to spread the value out, okay? Play said E-Strike 100, which they were all like this. If stores allow you to buy the cards through installments, hello, not Haze Duel. Just buy cases. I mean, yeah, you can just buy cases or just buy the singles. It's cheaper to buy the singles, to be honest. It always is. Do we have any more word on PvE other than it's happening this year? No, unfortunately. I think they're holding out on giving us that information. I think they're holding out on that. So I hope we get more information maybe in Baltimore. I really hope we see that it's coming out this year and see a little bit about it. I am stoked for it. It's probably going to be later this year, I imagine, maybe a fall release, but I just want it so badly. I love playing cooperative games. I love working with my friends. So I bet PvE won't happen this year. I mean, listen, I hope it comes out this year. It might not. I would much rather them finish it and make it good. But if they can get it out this year, oh my God, with all the D&D shit, it will just do so well. It will be so good. But I want them to be, I want them to finish it. I want it to be good. I don't want them to release a half-baked product. I am going to Baltimore. Yes, I am planning. Unless something happens, I'm going to Baltimore. Probably going to have to, I might sell a couple cards. I have like an extra Eye of Ophidia. I might sell a few things to just help fund that, make it easier for me. But not that I couldn't go, but it's like just, help me get there and make things a bit more comfortable. But I will be in Baltimore. I've already taken the time off work. Planning on going with a friend or two. So at least one friend. I think PV stuff is announced at Baltimore, especially with the fall of D&D. Yep. Needs to sink the hook in the lost. Yes, we need to take that audience. Yeah. After Baltimore, save for Worlds 2023. Yeah, Baltimore and Worlds are the two that I'm hoping to go to. Unless Worlds is like way too far away and is like too much of a trip. Baltimore's pretty early. Like it's like an hour and a half of a flight if I drive to Detroit. It's like 3 hours of travel. So easy. It's like 9 hours if I drive. But I hate driving in big cities. I refuse to do it. I hate driving in general. So I can do it. Obviously, I have a car, but I'm not driving in a big city. I live in a small town of 70,000. You ain't getting me to drive in frickin' Baltimore. You can eat my asshole. Big cities. Whenever Worlds is, you go. Okay, well, apparently, oh no, okay, so I guess I'm going. I'm able is determined I'm going. I mean, you did bring the frog hat last time, so I guess I can't say no. I told myself I'll only build one deck. Now I'm on my fifth. Exactly. You get into these games, you're going to build a bunch of decks. It's the way these go. Fables are much more playable, and they cost a lot. About Hoff and Eye of Ophidia, Heart of Fiendal. Listen, I'm going to say it. Heart of Fiendal is not that good. I'm just going to say it. It's only because the game needs to expand a bit more. It's like, it's good in its slot. It's not that great. A couple life, okay, I get it. But there's other things you can play. It's not that good. Eye of Ophidia's effect is pretty solid for certain decks. It is the worst defender. I would like to see them reprint them as non-foils at least. Maybe in the future they make like lesser versions, like white border non-foil, and let the rainbow foil be collector's pieces or something, because they are so rare. I don't know what they're going to have to do. I've talked about this with Bronson in the Chadcast, which, by the way, I have a podcast. It's the Chadcast. Just search it up, Chadcast. I could put in the link after, if like in the description. But I do have a podcast, by the way. I haven't announced on the main channel, but which the Fables are a bit cheaper. Yeah, Deep Blue is solid. No one wants to use it. Deep Blue is a really good card. Worlds is in the same place, isn't it? I don't know. Send one of my eyes to Alexandra to be signed. Rock decks use Deep Blue. Yeah, I have two eyes. I bought one for like 400 Canadian. It was like 3 American, so 400 Canadian. And then I pulled one. I want to sell one, but man, it's so dry here that they curl like crazy. I've got both of them in like a bag with those Boveda packs. Which, by the way, video tomorrow is about how to uncurl your cards. But every time I pull them out, within a few days they're curled again. They do flatten out nicely, so it's like I can flatten them out for an event, but then it's so the humidity and temperature here is so bad that my cards curl like crazy. It sucks. Canada sucks. Okay. Okay. So now I want to get to the last part. We're gonna be closing here. Yeah, a lot of players in Malaysia think, well, Gem Fables are playable. They're not as great as a card that blocks. Comes from 10-0 Islander PQ of 100. Yeah, so listen, again, the Fables are really cool. They are, they're really cool. They're really interesting card space, but I don't think they're as good as people think they are. I think it is a thing of people see it in a deck that wins, and they go, oh my god, I have to have this card because he's playing it. Just put a regular blue in. You're fine. Just put a card that blocks, like Heart of Fiendal. Wow. You gain a couple extra life. Whoop-de-doo. You can put something else in that blocks for 3, and then you just block for 3. And look at that. That 3 life you gained over the course of a game pitching the heart, you just gained 3 life by blocking for 3. Again, they're decent. They're not awful cards. They're interesting design space, but I do not think they are as powerful as people say they are. The only one you could argue is Eye and Kano, but I've also seen Kano decks lose because they flip the Eye off the top. So it can make you lose as much as it can make you win. Okay, just throwing that one out there. But I will say that's the only one that's like maybe a little bit too much. Down in Florida, it's very common to put silica gel packets in your deck. Yeah, silica gel in a temperate climate. Here in Canada, very hot and humid in the summer, very cold and dry in the winter. So my cards are curling because there's not enough humidity in them, which is why I use the two-way humidity packs. Which again, tomorrow's video on this main channel, look forward to that. That's tomorrow's video. Library and Prism. CC Prism. People stopped playing Library and Prism after a while. Saw the new card yet? Oh, that's not to me. I did though. Library and Prism is fun, but it's people stop playing it after a while. Like it's not as good. Again, it doesn't block. You have to play it. You can't even pitch the library. It's so much of a downside, man. Tomorrow's video, can we have a prettier backdrop? Do you mean for like the video rather than this? I mean, I use the green screen, so I hope it's prettier. I just raw dog humidity here. I use KMC perfect cards. I do need to get perfect cards, actually, to be honest. Oh, no Angry Man. Oh, like you want his pink face. Oh, you want him for the backdrop? Oh, for like, well, that's not for the back tomorrow's video. I don't use him, but I can use him next time for the background of a re-video like this if you'd like. But moving off of Angry Man. So if we're done with this, I hope get rid of him. Oh, okay. Well, we got rid of him. He's scaring me. Library's best in Aggro Prism. When they switch to auras, they drop the library. Honestly, like the library, man, I've played it before. I have a cold foil and a rainbow foil. Let's see. Okay, so we got Phoenix Flame. We're gonna open up just a freaking bunch of these. Let's see. That is not what I want. Assets. So I have been working on some of this stuff. It's just open up like a bunch of these. So these are like ash wings that I've been working on. I think this is where, so you'll see the Phoenix Flame. I have this wrong. I think that's why, is I think I copied it over from the ash wings. And so I accidentally left this on. I also have a Gibble. You know what, actually, I wonder if I should just do this. This might actually work better. Yeah, this might work better. Just open them up here and then I can scroll through each binder. So I've been making these Pokemon tokens. And I do plan on getting these made into actual proxy, like real cards. There's a site called Make Playing Cards. I've made magic proxies from it, and they're like actual card stock. And I've been thinking about doing a bunch of these different ones, offering them kind of through Patreon as rewards. So if patrons are interested, these will come at some point. I'm still making them. I still gotta, but one of the things that I'm also thinking about doing is offering, so I'm just going to open up even more. Is it going to open? Okay. And here we go. So we got Frostbites here that I've been doing. I wonder if I can, zoom in a little bit. Okay, it's going to zoom back out. As you can see, it's like a little Pokeball that you pay an extra. Got Articuno, nice little Glaceon and Snom. That's probably my favorite one for the Frostbites. And hello, Ripperoo. New to Fab, appreciate it. Yeah, thank you. I'm glad that you find it. I'm glad that you like the content. You've been enjoying it. I really appreciate that. Where's Lucia? Listen, so here's the thing. I'm gonna go through these. I have genuinely been considering. And I have these. So there's the Ho-Oh Phoenix Flame. I need to fix that, but. There's the Moltres I showed earlier, and then this one doesn't look as good. Fat Talonflame. I might have to change the background, but Talonflame's like whatever. Some of the Pokemon, when they're like kind of flat like this, they don't take up the whole space. They're not as good. One of the things I've been thinking of is offering basically commission service where like I can make you a token of like your favorite like trading card game or something like that, or like your favorite video game or whatever. And then if people want to like pay me, it's kind of like if people do altar cards, I can basically commission work like this. I've also done the hero cards, the Giga Chads. These are the Rune Chants. I made like this unknown background. I'll show you that too. I kind of made like this asset here for like, it says Arcane, Arcane. And then like I made the Gengar and then the Umbreon as well for the Rune Chants. And they're pretty easy to make. Once I have these assets made, we're going to close a few of these. Once I have the assets made, it's actually pretty easy. I think, the last one I have here are some Spectral Shields, just a few of those. I've got this beautiful little Mew here with Ward 1. And these are things that, like, I don't know. I just thought these would be cool to make. And I've thought about the potential of offering the commission service where, like, okay, I want, Full Metal Alchemist tokens or something where you can commission me to make them. I can give you, like, a how-to video on how to get them through Make Playing Cards. Like, you'd have to order them because there's no point in me shipping them to myself and then shipping them out to you. It's just a lot of extra stuff. But like if people are interested in this, if there's patrons or anybody interested, you can find me on like Twitter or, on Discord. If you're in the Sloopdoop Discord, you can go into the description and find it. If this is something that interests you, I'm still working on this project and it's not going to be just yet, but if this is something that interests you, let me know. If like you would like commissioned work. One other thing that I do is, and this is for my GigaChad patrons, and I think this is kind of cool. I did show this earlier, but that is not what I want. I do these. I've made these patron cards. Now, these are all kind of like their own heroes. I put them on like buff bodies and, give them their own abilities. But if you either want this, your own cards, or if you want me to actually like just slap you into something, and I can put you on some anime character or whatever, you give me your face. Again, I have no idea about pricing. I have no idea about anything like that. But this is just something I've been thinking about doing. I don't know if this is something anybody would be interested in, of like getting a card made of them, either a joke one or just like actually putting you on a genuine hero card so you can kind of play yourself or an anime character in the place of your hero. Like if there's some character that's like Dromai and you want to have Dromai herself replaced with that anime character, and that's the card that you get to play with. Stuff like that. Just I don't know. I've gotten pretty good. This one is he wanted like old him playing bingo, right, in the shape of bingo. So I found like this running thing, slapped his head on, and you can see like he's jumping on Mr. Ribbits down there in the bottom. This was pretty fun. And then I gave him like this joke ability, Essence of Ice, Earth, or Earth, Ice, and Bingo. So just something, I've been thinking about doing as like kind of a service to maybe offer. So if anybody is interested, let me know. This will come a little bit further down the line, but I've been really enjoying these. I am thinking about adding these to patron rewards. Once I have like a set of each ones I want to do, maybe I'll let people choose the options of what ones they want. But just let me know, like, do you guys think these are cool? Like, do these look good to you? Do you think, I love Pokemon personally, so I would love to continue to be able to make these. I mean, I'm really happy with some of these. I can't obviously sell them. It's like this isn't my artwork. I put all this together, but this isn't my artwork, so it's like I can't sell the cards themselves, and I'm not going to. But free little extra rewards, as like little Sloopdoop tokens or something. I don't know. This is thank you, Clash Pride. I appreciate that. Yeah. Because I do like the idea of being able to offer people. So if somebody's like really into a game, like let's say they're really into Monster Hunter, and you're like, man, I want you to make Monster Hunter ones. Like take the monster images, make me tokens for this deck. My favorite deck is Dromai, so I want all like I want like a Rathalos as my Ashwing. It's like, okay, cool. I can do that. I make you an Ashwing one, get you the whole thing made up. You can order them through Make Playing Cards or something, and boom, now you got your own like Rathalos tokens that you can use for your deck. I think that'd be kind of a cool thing for people. I think I'm getting better at Photoshop every day. Like I've gotten pretty decent with it. So, just something I've been thinking about. Wanted to kind of show that here. Still working on this project. To be honest, I'm making these mostly for myself. I want these so I can play them. Animal Crossing tokens, yeah, I can do that too. We'll see. We'll see where this goes. But this is just kind of something I'm doing. These are just the PNGs. A little dragon in there. But this is just a little bit at the end. Obviously, I like to save these kind of things for the very end because I know most people don't care that much. I hope you guys have enjoyed this stream. 17 likes, not too bad. You guys have been all great. I've had like 40 to 50 viewers this whole time, which feels pretty good. Again, thank you to Roger from M&R Podcast. By the way, if you guys want like a big brain podcast, go and follow the Manor Podcast. It's M-N-R. It's Roger and Michael Hamilton, so Mr. Big Brain himself, Icelander player. So thank you for the super chat, and thank you to Unplayable for becoming a Chad member of the channel. You guys are all fantastic, every single last one of you, all you Chads. I think we've covered everything. I think we're pretty well ready to wind down. So I appreciate all you. I hope you all have a wonderful night. And I will see you hopefully sometime next week. I'm going to try to stream like once a week, have topics like this. If you guys have any options or anything you want me to talk about, let me know. Say it in the chat, in the thing. Shoot me a message somewhere on Twitter or whatever if you want me to talk about stuff. Because the less ideas I have to come up with, the happier my brain is. Because I am a dumb monkey brain. So, hope you all have a great night. Goodbye, my chats.